guitars that we could strum. We'd all be making music in the streets and having fun. Imagine if we all could have respect and love and peace. Listen as the music sets us free. Well, set me free.
Welcome back, welcome back. We're listening to a song called Set Me Free. This is a great song that was written actually by Gregg Hammond. And this is a song that he wrote, well, I won't steal that. Gregory, why did you write this song?
Well, I wrote the song because I wanted to write a song for all musicians, but specifically for the youth that were participating in a after-school music program that I helped to get started here in the D.C. area. But I realized they didn't have a song that was an anthem song, which is very much tying into the first story. Is I wanted to write a song so that they had something to sing and to play together, because I wanted to bring people together. As I was saying, groups of people performing and singing together was something that was part of the cultures that years ago, before we had other technology.
And I was talking earlier, this is the reality of real estate, and it is really important that the reality of real estate is real estate touches every single person's life, because you have to live somewhere. So you may rent a place, you may own a place, but real estate touches everybody's life and their daily life. And music is one of those things, and the reason that I wanted to do this show about music and real estate, it does increase real estate values when you bring a community together. And particularly when you bring a community together under something that is very spiritual and very powerful, and music is definitely that thing. And particularly, I really admire the fact that you work so much and spent so many tireless hours working on the nonprofit that you work on that helps children. And I want to talk about the nonprofit, but let's go back to the beginning. So why did you decide, I know there was an incident that happened to you in Washington, D.C. We have definitely some areas of D.C. that are much higher in real estate values, and then we have some areas that are not so high. And there are reasons for that. And what are some of those reasons? But this specific incident, I wanted you to share this story of what happened to you, because I know it's very personal, but this is also what inspired you to get involved and do so much volunteer work with youth and music and teaching people.
Yeah. So there are two different incidents that happened, but one of them, the first one was when I was in Southwest D.C. I'd exited I was with Dad, and we were
You're coming to visit me.
Coming to visit you.
Which I was living in Southwest.
Yeah, and so we're there in Southwest, and a group of kids, and they were young, between maybe 8 and maybe 14, and they attacked us. They attempted to rob us, and I got a good punch in the mouth from one of them.
I know Dad, actually his teeth were, fortunately he has teeth, but his teeth were actually loosened from one of the guys punching him.
Right, and so the question came to my mind: why did they do this? And then the next question was, how can I prevent this from happening again? And so I thought about youth growing up in adverse circumstances where they don't have a role model or possibly something to do. And I thought about when I was young and how much playing guitar, and how much music, being able to go to a concert meant a lot to me, and being able to sing and be able to play music with friends and listen to music around a campfire, how much that meant to me. And I realized that I had the ability to get involved and become part of a solution in respect to these at-risk kids.
And that's it also, that from that phrase, I think it's actually the Michael Jackson song, I've played it a few times, be the change you'd like to see.
Be the change, exactly.
Be the change. Look at that man in the mirror. Be the change you want to see in the world. I think that's also Gandhi. It's really, really important to just do it. You know, stop asking. Joe Madison, I love it when he always, you hear how angry he gets when somebody calls and asks him, you know, what is he doing? And he's like, wait a minute, what am I doing? What are you doing about it?
Exactly.
You know?
Each person can take responsibility and become proactive and be part of the solution. And so that's what I did. I had one other incident that
so we're talking about real estate and real estate values, but we're also talking about how it all is impacted by a music program, and particularly
Right.
why it's important that every single person gets involved. So the other incident that
Oh, it was a couple of kids jumped out of a car
Mm-hmm.
late at night. I was coming home with a sandwich, and they jumped out and they held me at gunpoint. And that was the thing where I said, all right, so, you know, I
And
have
these
to
are
search.
kids. I think the most disturbing part for me was how young these
Yeah,
kids were.
probably,
I mean,
you know, mid-teens, probably
Yeah.
between 14 and 16. And so I realized that was where I was getting a calling to be proactive, was for youth at that age, and I you know, referred back to guitar being very powerful for me and as an instrument. And so I searched out how could I bring guitars to these youth in the communities. And because I just moved into my neighborhood, I wanted my neighborhood to be safe. And so, and I was interested in possibly purchasing a home in my neighborhood. And I thought, well, not if I'm going to be jumped all the time. Or,
right. If I have to be afraid,
right.
cover me. I'm going to the car.
Yeah. So I thought, wouldn't it be great if all of these youth on the corner were actually playing guitar, and I could be jamming with them, and you know, in some way, or sharing the guitar, the love of the guitar that I have. And so I found a national program that could help me do that, and that's the program Guitars, Not Guns.
And I think this is a program I think is so fabulous because, and I actually, if I can share, I'm going to share a quick story. One of my favorite stories of Gregory was when he called me and he asked me to come out to a Guitars, and I want you to talk about the program, but it's you know, in a lot of different schools. He called me and he said, hey Jennifer, I want you to help me teach this guitar class. And of course, my first thought is, I don't play guitar, so what kind of teacher am I going to actually be? And I think this is a really powerful thing because, again, you may be sitting in your house, your truck, or wherever you are listening to this right now, and you might be thinking, well, I don't play an instrument, or I don't sing, and I mean, it was so funny because here I have my brother saying to me, well, it doesn't matter. You just need to show up. And he wouldn't tell me why. He just said, show up, show up. And so I did. And I remember thinking, what am I going to do? I'm going to hide in the closet. I don't know how I'm going to talk to these kids. And I have to tell, I've told this story a lot to my friends. To me, it was one of the most powerful things to watch. There were these kids that were like gang kids that you could just tell from what they were wearing and stuff. Then there were some of the kids who were either physically or mentally had, you know, they were challenges. They were handicapped in some ways. As my friend Tracy would say, handy-capable. They were handy-capable kids. But they had challenges. And I was amazed by, even if a child had a twitch or something, as soon as you did the 5, 6, 7, 8, and all of them started trying, some played better than others, it was amazing how all of them just became one group. They became a community. There was an incredible, powerful thing that came over that group. And I was so amazed, one, that I could be there and that I could remotely help, not being that I don't know how to play guitar right now, and I don't, you know, there was no other things that I was thinking, how am I going to contribute? And I was just, it was so powerful. I was just amazed that no matter who you are, no matter what walk of life you are, no matter what you're doing right now, you could help a child. You could help someone else with this.
Yeah, so you can, and if you're willing to volunteer, there's something that you can do to help out with this program.
Yeah.
And I'm running the DC chapter of Guitars Not Guns, and you can find that on the web at guitarsnotguns.org.
ORG.
And ORG.
But go ahead, tell us about the program, because I know a lot of people have never heard of it.
I'll give a quick summary. The program is an after-school program mostly. The class that you came to was actually in a therapeutic day school. And so that was a day class, but most of the time we have our classes in a place that's between where the child lives and where the child is going to school, hopefully. And we try to put ourselves there because that's where trouble can brew. That's where something gets started. So
Well,
we
and
put
as the biblical phrase goes, idle hands are the devil's workshop.
so we give them something in their hands. It's a guitar, and what we do is we provide the guitars, and we provide a 1-hour guitar lesson per week, and we follow up with the students, making sure that they're practicing. The way the program works is if these students learn to play 6 guitar chords and can name all the parts of the instrument, they've passed a level 1, so they get a certificate that says congratulations, good job, and they get to keep the guitar.
This is huge. I mean, to have a guitar, I mean, a lot of kids, one of the reasons they would never play a guitar is because they
It
don't...
costs money to buy one. So
Expensive.
here we have one it's not free. It's a loaned guitar that they have the opportunity to earn just by learning to play, by showing the dedication, setting a goal for themselves. And when they accomplish that, then they get to keep the guitar. And then, of course, they can come back and